Hey guys, I'm Ubiru and welcome back to World of Warships. Today we'll be looking at the Tier 8 American cruiser, the New Orleans. Now the New Orleans is a slight increase on the Pensacola in almost every respect, except for the guns. Now there are 3 guns on this ship, and on the Pensacola there are 4. But on this ship there are all 3-barreled, and on the Pensacola there's only 2 2-barreled guns and 2 3-barreled guns. So it's 10 guns versus 9 guns, so there's not a huge amount of difference. But this ship makes up for it in rate of fire. So before we get into the statistics of the ship, let's just look at the outline of the ship, see how big the profile is in comparison to the Pensacola. So this is the New Orleans, the Tier 8 cruiser, and this is the Pensacola. Now, the Pensacola has a very slightly higher mast, very slightly higher at the top, but the main deck is a lower profile than the New Orleans. The New Orleans is quite a bit higher, a bit more similar to the Cleveland at Tier 6. But yeah, the New Orleans looks very modern. It's same as its previous to the Pensacola. It looks like a very modernized ship in comparison to some other earlier cruisers in the game. It's a very nice ship overall in terms of appearance. Yeah, so the next stat of the ship is survivability of the ship. So 49 out of 100. 49 out of 100 is very good for a cruiser, and very good at this tier. It's exactly the same as the Japanese equivalent in terms of survivability score. This ship has 35,400 health, which is very, very good as well, nearing sort of battleship standards. The Tier 4, Tier 5 battleships have around 35,000 max health. So very nice score overall. And indeed is very slightly increased on the Pensacola at Tier 7. And the Pensacola has something like 34,000 max health, and this has 35,000, so very gradual increase. The armour, however, is a lot better than the Pensacola. The Pensacola has armour of only up to 76mm thick. Most places it's sort of destroyer standards of armour, and this ship, however, has up to 127mm. The Citadel has up to 127, the forward and aft ends have up to 102, gun casement 76, and the armoured deck is up to 57mm thick. This ship is very well armoured for a cruiser. Now talking about artillery, the main guns is 49 out of 100, so it is again a gradual increase on the Pensacola at Tier 7. In some respects, the main guns, there are 3 of them. We have 2 at the front and 1 at the back. Now they all have 3 barrels each, so up to 9 barrels and 9 rounds every time you fire. And we have secondary armament of only minor sort of 127 rounds, 127 caliber guns, 4 on each side. They only do sort of minor damage, and they're only up to 4.5 kilometers distance, so they won't really make a huge difference in this ship. In this ship I like to fire at long range. I play this almost exactly the same as I played the Pensacola. Fire at long range, keep away from all the big ships, but with this ship I can at least use my utilize my armor. Now the armor in this ship is substantially more than Pensacola, so I can actually be a bit more daring than I would in the Pensacola. Now there is 1 less gun than the Pensacola, but the rate of fire definitely makes up for it. The rate of fire of these guns is 4.3 rounds per minute instead of 4, which is the Pensacola's rate of fire. And these guns go very slightly further than the Pensacola at Tier 7. They go 16.2 kilometers max distance, and the Pensacola only goes something like 15.7. So it does make a difference, especially when you're against the higher tier battleships, which have a longer range with their guns, and you can start duking out at extreme ranges as opposed to sort of close range. Yeah, in this ship you want to keep it away from every ship possible, probably within 8 or 9 kilometers max distance away from everything. Battleships, I would suggest you stay 12 kilometers away. Maybe push them towards your max gun range, because this ship, when it does get hit, despite its really good armor, it does take some serious damage. So the next stat is the anti-air capability of the ship. Now the anti-air capability of this ship is again fantastic. It's a cruiser. Cruisers are very focused on protecting the fleet in terms of their anti-air capability. The Pensacola was no different, and the Cleveland also. They all have the anti-air ability, which boosts your anti-air firepower for a short while, and this is no exception. 53 out of 100, an amazing score for a cruiser, and an amazing score overall. Any plane that flies overhead is going to take a few hits and potentially be shot down in no time. If you pop your anti-air ability, then it will pretty much clear the sky above you of all the planes around you. The next stat is manoeuvrability. Now manoeuvrability is a very slight decrease and the Pensacola at tier 7. The Pensacola is something like 66 maneuverability, and this one's only 63. But 63 is still good for a cruiser. You can outmaneuver battleships very easily, sort of turn quite sharply. This one, when it's fully upgraded, has a rudder shift time of 9 seconds, which is pretty good. You get destroyers average at around 5 seconds, and cruisers at around sort of 8 to 10. So 9 is about average. It's a pretty good shift time. Battleships sort of turn at ridiculously long times, sort of like 15 seconds for the rudder to turn from left to right. Up to a maximum speed of 33 knots, which again is very good for a cruiser. It's slightly worse than the Japanese equivalent. The Japanese sort of goes around 35. So this ship is sort of nearing battleship speeds as opposed to cruiser speeds. So in that respect, it's not quite as good as the Japanese equivalent. But 33 knots max speed is exactly the same as the Pensacola. And the turning circle radius is 820 meters. I believe that's about the same as the Pensacola. Yep, the Pensacola has 800 circle radius, so 820 isn't going to make too much of a difference. That extra 20 meters is about the same overall in maneuverability. And the last one here, the last stat, is concealment. 56 out of 100, pretty good score. Again, a very slight increase on the Pensacola. Surface detectability range of 12.4 kilometers and air detectability range of 7.5 kilometers. So your guns push at a range of 15 kilometers, so you can very easily fire outside your surface detectability range of 12.4 with your increased range of, well, the extra 3 kilometers. Of course, it depends on the acquisition range of your ship. Of this ship, I'm not so certain. I don't think you can find out, but I'll get to that in a moment. So the New Orleans is a very slight increase on the Pensacola in almost every respect. Slightly better, well, it's actually quite a bit better anti-air capability. Slightly worse in respect of how many guns it has. But overall, it's a pretty solid ship with very nice armor, very nice top health. Let's look at the modules of the ship. Yeah, so this is the basic version of the ship. No upgrades at all. I have just taken them off. The initial gun you get is only 4 rounds per minute. It's the same as the Pensacola pretty much, with the exception of a very slightly faster turn time of only 25 seconds as opposed to the Pensacola's 30 seconds. Other than that, we have a max distance of guns of only 14.7. That's sort of the max distance of the Pensacola fully upgraded. Yeah, so the first upgrade of the ship, which you have to choose in order to upgrade either the gun or the gunfire control system, is the hull upgrade. So with the hull upgrade, you get 4,900 increased health to 35,400 in total. Now it says here survivability increase, yeah, that's the increased health. Anti-air increase, yeah, that's a very slight increase in how many guns you have on the ship. And it says maneuverability increase. So it doesn't say here what kind of maneuverability increase it actually has. But if you click here on maneuverability, you can see here it's minus 2.7 rudder shift time, which helps a lot when you're evading the bigger ships' shells at long distance. So I'm going to mount that there. The next upgrade I'd definitely choose is the increased range on guns. So gunfire control system, again, it's 10% increased fire range of up to 16.2 kilometers. Pretty good upgrade. Most ships have this in the game. Not all of them do. I would definitely recommend the gunfire control system over only a minor gun increase. So I'll choose this next to push your range further so you can duke out with the bigger ships faster as opposed to waiting around for you to get within range. And the final upgrade here is the guns. So the guns here have a increased rate of fire of your 3 guns to 4.3 rounds per minute instead of 4. So 0.3 rounds per minute extra. That only decreases the time of the guns reloading by only a few seconds, but it all does add up. And an increased turn time of 2 seconds to 27.7 second, 180 degree turn time. So 2 seconds doesn't really mean a lot in terms of guns. You won't really notice it. It'll be very, very slight. It would be like a half a degree or something per second. So yeah, they are the upgrades for the ship. Pretty good overall. It's a shame there's no engine upgrades. 33 is alright for a cruiser. I like to have an increased speed of something like 35 or 36 knots. So yeah, let's look at the credit bought upgrades of the ship. So I'll start with the one I always choose, which is the main battery modification 1. You only have 3 guns on this ship. You want to have the guns up as much time as possible, and this just decreases the chance of guns being critically damaged, and it decreases main gun repair time. And also decreases magazine detonation. That's not such a priority for this one because it does have quite a lot of armor, but it's there, you know, just in case you get penetrated by one of the bigger ships at close distance. The next one I choose is the Gunfire Control System Mod 1, which is the increased accuracy on main guns. These guns focus at firing at long distance, and if you increase the accuracy at long distance, then the rate of fire is only 4.3. It's not quite as good as like the Cleveland, for instance. So if you manage to hit more shells, then it works out better. Third upgrade I've chosen here is the Damage Control System Mod 1, which is the standard -3% chance of flooding and -5% chance of fire. Most people fire high explosive rounds at cruisers, which is understandable because cruisers aren't usually that well armoured, but this ship has quite a lot of armour, but people will still fire high explosive at you and you will be on fire, so I've chosen this just to reduce the chance of fire. Flooding doesn't matter too much. If you get hit by torpedoes in this thing, then you're dead anyway, because you only have 35,000 health, and at this tier 8 torpedoes rip you to shreds. The fourth upgrade I've chosen here is the I've decreased rudder shift time. Now this one wasn't so important, but I've chosen this anyway just to further decrease the shift time by 20%. I could have chosen this one here, which is the decreased time to reach full power. I didn't choose it because this ship, it hasn't got a very good top speed, only 33 knots, so I didn't really see the point. And the Damage Control System Mod 2, which is the -15% flooding recovery time and -15% time to extinguish fire. I could have chosen this one, but I don't know, I prefer just turning quicker, because when you're against the bigger ships from long distance, they're firing their huge caliber guns at you. You're sort of driving straight at them to predict where they're going to fire their guns. You turn according to where they're going to fire. I prefer just having a decreased rudder shift time as opposed to fire going out quicker or whatever. So with all tier 8 ships, you get a fifth upgrade, a credit ball upgrade, and there are only 2 options though, and you get the first one here, which I've chosen, which is the Target Acquisition System Mod 1, which is plus 20% maximum acquisition range. Now that means you spot the enemy, your range to spot the enemy is increased. I initially thought it would be acquisition range as in maximum range of guns, but I was mistaken. It is in fact acquisition range as in spotting the enemy quicker. Or I could have chosen the Concealment System Mod 1, which is the -10% in detectability. Now this isn't really necessary for this ship. I'll be firing as often as I can, which will make my detectability pointless. People will see me with my shots going everywhere. It's the same sort of logic as World of Tanks. You fire a gun, they spot you. Yeah, so this has been the mod of the ship. Pretty good overall. I play this ship in the same way as I play the Pensacola, except in this ship I tend to duke out in slightly closer ranges, within 8 or 9 kilometers as opposed to the Pensacola's 12 kilometers, just because of the armor rating of this ship is a lot higher, and you can take a lot more hits, bounce a lot more hits. But still, you have to be very wary, be very careful about the big battleships. In this ship, you must never duke out with any battleships within sort of 10 kilometers. You want to push them out to your max distance of 15 kilometers. Yes, your guns won't be very effective, but it's all about survivability. If you get hit with one of those big shells, then same with all cruisers in the game, you're gonna take a critical hit. You're gonna take 20,000 damage in just a couple of shells, and then your game is pretty much over. Yeah, so let's have a look at some games. Okay, here we are. This is the New Orleans Tier 8 American cruiser on Islands of Ice domination mode. And the idea of this one is just to go towards C and D, and this ship usually go and catch off the other opposing cruisers, nearing sort of C. So the team is, we have less people, we have more sort of Tier 8s. It seems there are a few Tier 6s, a Congo Tier 5, Mitsuki. We do have a few advantages here, but they have a numerical superiority. So we're going to head towards C. As a typical cruiser, American cruisers, Japanese cruisers from Tier 6 onwards, you have the plane ability, which is a scout plane with the T button. Just press it now. And that scout will hunt down destroyers, hunt down other ships for you to then shoot at. And the second ability you have is the Y button, which is the amazing anti-air capability increase. Increases by something like 30%. So there's a couple of plane squadrons that go overhead, and you pop the Y button. If they're within sort of 2 kilometers away, then those planes will be shot down very, very quickly. So we're not going too fast here. We're going top speed, which is 33 knots. The Sims, it seems, isn't going top speed, otherwise they'd be going way ahead. The Nagatos in the distance there, they are capping B and A. We have 2 destroyers heading towards A to try and discount their cap. It's quite... yeah, it's very destroyer heavy, this match, so there are quite a lot of destroyers, most of them being like the Sims, which is the new premium tier 7 destroyer. And Megami's just over there within range, so going to lock on the guns. Megami has very good armour, so I'm going to load armour piercing after the HE goes down. They did dip. There is a few invisible walls on this map, which they haven't quite fixed yet. And it does get quite irritating. So he's now behind the rock. Now the Miyoki's within sort of range. No, just outside distance there. He's going towards D, it seems. So we're going to try and decap C, capture it for the team, and maybe try and interrupt D. B and A are pretty much lost at this point. Battleship sort of covering B. But yeah, it seems we're the only New Orleans in the match. So we have the advantage of the huge amounts of armour we have to offer. So the Megami is now within range, so we're going to fire a broadside of armour-piercing rounds just ahead. Hopefully we hit the middle of the deck. Just a bit behind. We're going to hit a couple of hits. We hit for nearly 6,000 there, which is pretty good for a first salvo. We hit the back, and we didn't get the prime shot in the centre, which is usually where the magazine is held, just underneath the guns. So we didn't get any proper critical damage there, but we did hit him for 6,000. This ship, the Megami, does have a lot of health to play with, 38,000. It's more of a battleship than it is a cruiser. So we're going out of range now, so we're just going to focus around, go and engage them near a D. We just did a broadside there to, well, I never know, you might get hit or two. Yeah, we got an extra sort of 600 damage, which isn't a lot, but, you know, it all adds up. And, of course, the cruisers can't heal themselves, so... we're going towards D with this Pensacola now. The Pensacola is the... well, it's a lot worse in many respects, the Pensacola, but it does have that extra gun. When you're doing a full broadside, the full broadside on the Pensacola is very slightly more powerful than the one on this ship, despite, of course, the decreased rate of fire. So the enemy Pensacola is in the distance there. When we get past this rock, we should be able to lay down some fire. And the Miyoko is actually there as well. The Miyoko is the tier 8. I believe it's the tier 8. Yeah, the Miyoko is the tier 8 equivalent to this. The Japanese equivalent. So we're going to keep firing at this guy when we get our guns on. It takes like 12 or 13 seconds to actually get the guns reloaded on this ship. But I have to try and get this guy to shoot me as opposed to the other guy. We've got 1 Citadel hit there, 6,000 damage, 4 regular hits. Guns will be online in the next 3 seconds. He's sort of 8 kilometers away now, so I have to lead the shots. He's going very fast. In the center again, hopefully get more good hits. Oh, 2 Citadel hits, 1 critically damaged, 16,000 damage, and our ally finished him off. Great. Now we're going to focus on the Megami. Megami's sort of stationary. He did run aground, so he is a prime target for us to deal with now. Our ally is Goner, so it's just me versus 2. I have to try and avoid them as best as possible by sort of going a bit back left. 4,000 damage. He's now changing to go a bit forward, I think, to avoid the iceberg. Pensacola I'm not so worried about. We just have pretty formidable guns. The Megami, however, has a fantastic broadside. We just hit him for 10,000 there with 1 Citadel hit. He's got more guns coming in for me now, so we only have the back gun able to fire on him at the moment while we sort of maneuver away from his incoming fire. Now we have no support here. We are in fact losing the match quite considerably in terms of, in fact all our allies are dead pretty much in this whole area. It's just us versus the whole team pretty much. So we're going to continue trying to you know, get around these shots, putting some fire on this guy. We need more effectual hits really. It's a shame really when the whole team sort of kills themselves and throw the game and then you're sort of left on your own. I can't really do a lot in this situation. I will probably die in the next couple of seconds, but we had a good short game. We hit lots of ships critically and we did a few Citadel hits, so not too bad. And there has been no planes overhead really, so we haven't had any plane kills. No time really to use our extra ability. So we are probably going to sink now, but no matter. We had a pretty alright game considering how short it was. Let's get into another one. Yeah, so as you can see, the first game wasn't too good. We only got nearly 150,000 credits and 1,100 experience, but we did quite a lot of damage. We did 44,000 damage in the space of only 5 minutes, so that wasn't so bad, and we actually came third in our team. So we didn't have a single kill, and we still managed to get third place, so not terrible. Let's have a look at one more game. Okay, here we are again. This is the same ship, the New Orleans Tier 8 American cruiser, and we're on North this time. Standard battle, so basically team deathmatch with 2 capping points. This matchmaking is kind of interesting. We're in a Tier 8. Usually this doesn't happen too often when you have sort of Tier 8 ships against Tier 10s. We're against the Yamato, which is currently the strongest battleship in the game. 100,000 health, 26 kilometer gun range, 460 millimeter thick guns. So we're going to keep away from him. We're going to focus on the Miyokis, the Pensacolas. Usually on this map, people would focus around. I'm going to mark it on the map now. Battleships would focus here, just next to this small rock. Cruisers would be sort of in the center, with the destroyers on the right-hand side there. I don't know what to do, really. I don't want to get anywhere near the Yamato. If the Yamato, you know, gets within range of us, actually he's within range of us now. If he spots us, he can easily do a lot of damage. Oh, I did in fact just accidentally use my AA ability, but never mind, that will come up in the next couple of minutes, and yeah, there's no planes in this match, so it's kind of irrelevant anyway. So I think we just probably stick to our team. We haven't got a huge amount of distance. Maybe if we push this rock... Whoa, he just took a huge hit there of 20,000. Holy crap, who hit him? Yeah, there is in fact an aim hack in the game at the moment. A Russian one. I know the game's in beta, but people do that. People do have this. I don't use it. It's basically this thing where you aim in through the scope, like I am now. You're just normally aiming in, and it shows you a marker on the reticule where to aim in order to get a perfect critically damaged hit on the ship you're targeting at. In my opinion, it's not worth it. You know, this open beta. We're here to practice for the main game. We're not here to cheat. So I've just put high explosive rounds onto this Yamato. I don't know if I'm going to hit. No, I did just go out of range. There's no point me targeting the Yamato, really. I don't really want to get his attention. If I get his attention, then I know who's going to win and who's going to lose. So the Miyoko is in fact in front of us. Has quite good armor, pretty good guns. It's the tier equivalent, the Japanese tier equivalent. So let's focus him down. We're on choosing armor-piercing rounds this time. Hopefully get a good hit. We've got 11,000 damage there. We hit him right on the Citadel hit. Can we get him again? We hit him. Yeah, we did get a really nice Citadel hit just there. So I might just lurk around here, see what the team does. I don't really want to push the battleships. Yeah, you want to keep sort of max distance away from the battleships at all times, and you know, stay out of range of their guns. If they get their guns on you, then yeah, you're dead in no time. It's the same sort of thing with lower tiers. You have the Congo versus the Omaha. The Congo's going to win every time. The guns are just too powerful. And the Omaha has literally no armor. It's the same sort of equivalence here. Yeah, the Amagi's there. And there's a couple of other battleships in the distance there, along with the Yamato. There was one a bit closer here, which is the Amagi. He's just outside range, though, it seems. I only have 16 kilometers max distance, and he's 16.6, so we're not going to push it. We're just going to sort of float around here, assist the team best as possible, stick with the other New Orleans on the team. Yeah, we're not going to risk anything here. There's literally no point in engaging, like charging in, like lots of people do in World of Tanks, and then die. There's a destroyer here, though, which we can engage. It's sort of 9 kilometers away, so we can just push the shells. Hopefully we'll hit him there. We hit him there for about 5,400, which is quite good. There is another destroyer on our right, but firing a destroyer from 13 kilometers is rather pointless. The Miyoki I shot earlier is coming round 2. He's not past the rock yet, so I won't engage him. The Sims, however, is coming close. He's within 5 kilometers, and I know he has a terrible payload of 5.5 torpedoes, so I need to quickly turn as best I can. Full throttle turn right, really hard right shoulder, and as soon as he sort of appears, I'll put all 3 guns on him with 9 rounds, hopefully. So he's appearing any second now. we're going to go straight, so we have a huge advantage in terms of evading his torpedoes. So we're going to fire full broadside now. Hit him 1 critically damaged, 9 hits, but no major hits, unfortunately. So the guns are reloading, 3 seconds to go, and hopefully we can kill him this time. He's turning very sharply, it seems. Going to fire once more. Come on, finish him off, finish him off. 3,000 damage. Not quite done him. 165 health left. He's on fire, though, it seems. Oh, no, he's not. His engine's broken. Yeah, that's right. We broke his engine. So his engine is broken, so now he's stationary. He can't do a lot about this. And it's going to finish him off. Easy peasy. So that's a Sims. Usually a Sims would be very competent against a cruiser if you actually push the corners correctly. I saw it coming, so I pushed the corner first. And waited for him to appear, and then finished him off. So we can't engage the Myoko, the lone Myoko there, but we can engage the Benson destroyer. So we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to turn really sharply right. We know that he has a terrible payload, which can affect us. Oh my gosh, 15,000 damage, and secondary armour's going to finish him. So close. Come on, secondary armour, you can do it. You can do it. So close. We're going to finish him off with the main battery. Totally worth it. 2 destroyers down in quick succession. Great. So now the enemy only has 2 destroyers left. Wow, those destroyers were knocked down very quickly. So Myoko is 24 kilometers away in that direction. Our battleships and destroyers are engaging their battleships. We have lost 2 cruisers, and they've lost... they haven't lost the big Yamato, though. So they still have that at their disposal. So we're doing quite well so far. We have not many critically damaged hits, but we have killed 2 destroyers. Admittedly, they are very easy to kill, but we killed them nonetheless. Another destroyer is about to peak, so if we fire before he goes past the rock, then potentially he won't see the shells coming and he won't be able to dodge. Usually at this range I wouldn't fire at a Sims because they're high manoeuvrability, but maybe we can finish him off without him seeing it coming. Not quite. He's coming a bit closer, so we're going to engage him when we get past this rock. Miyoko's in the distance there, we still can't deal with him. Nagato is coming now, so the Nagato is behind the rock as well, so we can't, he's not going to be a big problem. Miyoko we engaged earlier is now appearing, so we need to deal with him. We've got to take him out. Maybe he runs aground. No. Never mind, we can get the guns round before he gets past the rock, hopefully. 6 seconds. We can finish him off if we can actually get the guns on him properly. If we aim it properly now, he might turn. Come on, finish him off. 6,000 damage we need. 1 critically damaged and he's gone. Citadel hit 75 health left. Oh my gosh. I don't believe it. 75 health. God. Okay, we're going to try it again, but he's sort of concealed behind all these rocks now. We don't really have a chance to finish him off. We'll finish him off another time. We have to focus on the team now. So the destroyer is capping. Okay, there is in fact someone capping our base. So I'm going to turn these guns around and engage the destroyer. The destroyer is right there. Is the one I engaged earlier, but missed. It's the Sims. He only has 400 health, and he's been taken out by our allies. So good. The Pensacola is over there, along with the other Miyoki. And there's 2 cruisers over there, and there's a battleship coming around the corner as well. So the Miyoki, the ship I just engaged just then, just did torpedoes, hoping that he'd actually hit me, but I saw them. I didn't see them coming, but I turned anyway. So it seems our destroyers are sort of encircling their base, and along with our battleships, encircling their battleships specifically, and the battleships seem to be fleeing. The Amagi and the Yamato seem to be in a lot of trouble. So we're going to go back and defend the base. So the Miyoki, our ally, is now dead, so it's just me and the Amagi. So the Amagi's seen the problem and he's come round. So he's a good player, the Amagi. Really, really well done for him coming back and helping to defend. They have 2 really low ships, the Miyoki and the other one. It seems their guys are going back to defend as well. They see the incoming threat of our allies. We are winning the match. 5-3 at the moment, and we did have the same amount as the enemy to start off with. So the Pensacola is coming within range, and the Nagato, and should be the 2nd cruiser as well. So see if we can get some shots onto this guy. The Pensacola has very little armor, and Miyoko, I pronounce it terribly wrong, my mistake, is coming there as well. So let's focus on the Pensacola. Pensacola is an easy target right in front of us, and he's within range, unlike the other 2 ships. So we'll try and knock this guy down. Use armor piercing. If we penetrate his armor and do some damage, then we could potentially do full damage. We missed that time, and we're going to do the spotting plane just to help a bit. The 3rd gun's coming around now, so we're going to continue firing just a bit higher So if he does turn, we have still a nice chance of being able to actually hit him and get some damage done. So we've got one critically damaged there. We knocked out his engine, so he will be slowing down. So I have to aim according to him slowing down. He might have repaired it though. It seems he has. He's not really changing in velocity. So we have taken 5,000 there. We only did another critically damaged hit. We get him for 8,000 there. So if we hit him once more like that, we should be able to finish him off. So we're going to lead all the shots appropriately. We're going to move to avoid the rock and to his shells. Hopefully we hit him there. Only a small amount of damage, but it doesn't matter. The Miyoko is sort of 18 kilometers away, but the Nagato is now within range. Now, this is where you have to sort of be very careful around battleships. Now, battleships are very dangerous at even at your max range, so you have to be very careful and not engage them. Let them engage you, or you can sort of kite them around the map because they're very slow and you're very fast. So the Amagi is having a bit of trouble, it seems, against the Miyoko and the Nagato. The Pensacola I just engaged is sort of fleeing in that direction. He seems like he's almost defending the cap. Now we are in fact winning quite substantially here. We have more than half their team dead. We're winning 7-4. We just have to make sure the team defends the cap. The Benson's come back now, which is good. Usually a nice thing to see in this game and other wargaming games is if you see a player come back to defend, you know that he at least has common sense and that he knows what he's doing. Quite often you see people just going, capping their base like most of our allies are now, hoping for the best. So hit Nagato there, but for very little. The Nagato has a huge amount of armour, but he's not focusing on us, so we can just continue laying down the fire. We're going to focus on the Miyoki now, Miyoko, whatever, because he's focusing on us. And then Nagato is focusing on our battleship. So we did critically hit him there for 7,000, which is quite good. And our ally finished off the Miyoko, so that's quite nice. So we're going to focus down the Nagato with the allies. Hopefully we finish him off with our group before the game ends. It doesn't matter how many times you tell the team to stop capping, they won't. They'll just continue to cap. Which, in some situations capping is good, but, when you're about to win the game by killing, there's literally no point in capping. I don't think you can get cap experience like you do in other games. So we were taking a big hit here. Most went into the water. In fact, all the shells went into the water. We're very lucky, and he has a very long, sluggish reload time of something like 35 seconds. So we have the advantage here of the firing at the Nagato. We did just hit those shots a bit too low. We are coming within 9 kilometers now of this guy, which is not good. So we need to sort of turn very sharply and get the hell away. Torpedoes coming to us now, but they should all miss, and they have done. So we're going to turn very sharply, hopefully avoid this guy's shots. Hit him for 3,000. Okay, he hits us, but not very hard. But he did, in fact, knock out one of our guns. Now, when you knock out a gun, when a gun is destroyed, it's destroyed, so you can't get it back. So now I'm only limited to my 2 front guns, so I want to try and drive in such an angle where my 2 guns are always active. So we are trying to defend the cap, and the enemies and our allies are capping also. This guy seems to be trying to cap, and well, he seems to be focusing on me quite a lot now. All his guns are focusing on me. Yeah. Seems though the Pensacola has died, the Pensacola from earlier, that we seriously damaged. He seems to have gone back to defend, and our allies have swept him up and finished him off. So he is still focusing on me, but it's not such an issue right now. We're doing still quite a lot of damage on him, 5,000 just then. And the battleship and destroyer behind him are also screwing with him. Wow, okay, the battleship on battleship is just blown him away. The Amagi has destroyed the Nagato in very quick succession there, and the game's about to end. We only have a couple of ships left, the destroyer and the Yamato left. I'm very surprised the Yamato has survived. It's a very, very slow ship, the Yamato, and it's managed to travel around the whole map, sort of kiting our whole team. So we probably won't get much more action here, but we have done very well in this game. 81 hits, most of them doing substantial amounts of damage. 5 Citadel hits, 3 critically damaged, including knocking out 2 engines, and we knocked out 2 ships. So very good game for us. Okay, it seems our team actually, in the end, hunted down the Yamato and finished them off. So good game overall. So in this game we got 362,000 credits, nearly 3,600 base experience, and 178 free experience. So 81 hits, 5 Citadel hits, 3 critically damaged, and we killed both destroyers. In terms of experience, we came on top. Brilliant score, in fact. Quite a lot more than the rest of our allies. Sort of 500 more than the nearest one. In terms of damage, it was as we suspected. 84,000 damage overall. Sort of really good for a cruiser. Usually this is sort of battleship standards of damage. A really good score overall. Yes, this has been the New Orleans, the Tier 8 American cruiser. It's actually it's only a gradual increase on the Pensacola at Tier 7, but with the increased rate of fire and the increased armour, it is, in my opinion, far more formidable than the Pensacola. Great, great ship. So, thank you very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.